Good evening, and thank you so much for joining TimeDone and Gunter to take the lead to branding you successfully. On today, we're going to talk about creating your personal brand. I am Yolanda Gunter. I am a brand cultivator and a strategist. I have been doing these type of courses for over 10 years. I specialize in brand development, graphic design, web development and design, data analytics, digital marketing, social network integration, which basically means I take your social media and integrate it into your website or your web apps so people can follow your brand, follow you, follow your company, or follow your organization and connect with them online to have a broader reach, right? I also do intellectual property consulting. That would be anything that has to do with digital media. The objectives of this course of branding you successfully is to provide interactive teachings that will lead you and show you how to build your personal brand, motivate you to look professional in your personal presentations across all mediums, and provide a great foundation in self-reinvention for success in the mindset of pursuing excellence in how you're perceived, both in your personal and professional relationships. The summary of topics that we will be covering today: embrace your name, find your font, hone in on your hues, making your motto, cultivating consistency, and protecting your brand. First, what is a brand? A brand is a distinct name or image identifying a product, service, or organization with a particular characteristic that serves to identify the said product, service, or organization. A brand really begins with the name. Embrace your name. In this session, we're going to be talking about you embracing your name because your personal brand does begin with your name. Now, I want you to positively visualize your name. This goes beyond self-esteem and into the root of your entire identity. Now, some people change their name, but they don't deal with their mindsets. So it doesn't even matter that they change their name because they're still doing the same actions that they were doing with their old name. So people are still connecting them to the behavior of who they are and what they do, regardless of what their name is. And if you're going to change your name, you want to change your mindset. Embracing your names comes to grip with the core of accepting who you are, not so much of what you do, but who you are. And when you can accept you for who you are, then you can truly change what you are. Now, this is an exercise. You want to print your name like you did in kindergarten. You want to make it legible. You're going to use imaginary blocks, use your mind, for spacing and print large enough for anyone to be able to read it. I'll give you a few minutes to do this exercise. Now we're going to walk through finding your font. What is a font? Well, in the industry of design, a font is typography. A font is the design of characters to include lowercase and uppercase letters, numbers, punctuation marks, and symbols. The words that you're reading on the screen, those are fonts. They're different fonts, but they're called fonts. You want to find the perfect font to use for your name as you embrace your name. And I want you to understand something. There's these two terms called serif and sans serif fonts. And serif fonts, they have small extended lines on the edge of their characters, like that top capital T there. And the word sans means without. So sans serif fonts do not have those extra lines. You don't see those extra little tips or anything like that, extended points or anything like that in a sans serif font. When you're finding the perfect font, you're literally looking at a font that's going to evoke emotion. The Arial font, this first font, is on the first left side of the screen. The Arial font is the most common font that people use when they're typing emails or typing letters or essay papers or whatnot. And you can see it gives just a regular, plain, common emotion or evocation of emotion, right? The next one under that, the brush script, it gives a more fun type of, easy feeling or whatnot, and kind of feminine feel. Now, Cody Star, well, it depends on what you're making. Say you're making a flyer or, you want to present fancy, then you would use that kind of font, right? And there's the Emblema one and finger paint. Finger paint, it looks like a kid font, right? I want people to take me seriously. You will not see my name, Yolanda Gunter, in the finger paint font or what they call it, the Walt Disney font or the Comic Sans font. Those are for kids. I'm not a child. And I generally don't do a lot of children-based, child-based, or youth-based activities. So the majority of what you will see any of my content in, if it is visually communicating a thought, an idea, or an event, or a purpose, or anything, it'll be like in Times Roman numeral, Arial, or Yamaha, Tahoma. I'm sorry, it's called Tahoma, or any font that's just plain with no serifs on them. It's sans serifs, right? There's the new, you see what that looks like, something for a cartoon, playlist script, those are good for, like, say I'm doing a brunch or something, or I'm doing a conference to help women embrace themselves or anything like that, more feminine, or Stardust stencil. I could use that if I'm doing a boot camp for men, or a boot camp I'm working, or doing like a workout session or something like that. That would be good for that. And then you see yesteryear and you see Zilla Slab Bold. You can use Zilla Slab Bold too, even though it has a few, it is a serif type font, because you can see those extra lines on each letter. You see those extra lines. You can use that for your name. It gives more of a masculine type of presentation and emotion. So when you're finding your perfect font, you want to also look at how the presentation of the font will provoke the emotion of the person that is visually looking at that font. You're visually communicating even with just the font that you pick. So you always want to communicate seriousness, because we are adults and we want people to take us serious. Go to these websites to find your font: google.com/fonts, 1001fonts.com. And I encourage you to choose your fonts wisely. This third session, hone in on your hue. What is a hue? Well, a hue basically is a color or shade. The words color and hue are used often interchangeably, and they mean the exact same thing. Hue means color. A shade means color. A color means color, right? And there's this color wheel that you see, and you see all the different shades of blue, purple, green, yellow, orange, browns, and pastels and grays going into black. A hue is a color again, and a color is simply a hue. What colors represent your motives? Now, we're going to be also building a palette, your color palette for your personal brand. And you want to be real conscious about that, because you want to steer away from color combinations that are common, that trigger holidays like red and green, or sports teams like red, yellow, and black for the Steelers or something like that, or blue, silver, and white for the Cowboys. You want to add a pop of color in there, like this one over here that says the sense of it all on the left. Yes, it has the Steelers colors in it, definitely, but it also has that pop of color of red. And it doesn't remind you of the Steelers when you look at it, actually. And now Stones of Honor, this reminds me of the Metropolitan ice cream. And I think I'm saying that right. And that ice cream that has the chocolate, the vanilla, and a strawberry. But because I have also a purple or a mauve that's a little darker than the strawberry pink, and I also have a darker brown, it kind of throws you off and you don't think about the ice cream. You also don't want to go too far into gender specific perceptions when you're using your colors and building your palettes, because you don't want people to be turned away. If you have information to offer and you're an organization, you're founding an organization, and although you may want to serve women, you have to remember that, or serve men, you have to remember that whatever you're offering any human being can be used across all genders, right? So you want to be conscious of that. I, even if I have a women's group, I would still use things like yellow, and black and gray. I would use colors. I'll just use pop of colors, but I'll make sure that whatever I'm visually communicating in my colors to provoke the emotion, I'm not pushing away any one gender. I'm not pushing them away. If I use all blue, it's because it's probably a corporate thing and I want to invite everybody. And I'm adding some black, maybe a yellow, or maybe a green in there, right? Because you want your color combinations to represent you. And you want all people to see you for who you are, and not just based on gender specific or a holiday or a sports team. You want to make sure that your colors reflect good perceptions. What colors represent your motives? Motives are hidden, they're not obvious, right? And you want to, again, like I said, you want to use colors to visually speak to people's emotions. It sets up an atmosphere of, while people are looking at your information, they're also kind of learning about you. Purple, blue, green, yellow, orange, red, white, black. These are the bases of most colors that are presented online. So since we're building our personal brand and these personal brands are going to be online, know and understand that there are different, hundreds of different shades of any one of these 8 colors. When I say hundreds of different shades, if we go back to that color wheel, you can see there's different shades of purple. They lead in the blue, they lead in the green, they lead in the yellow, they lead in the orange, they lead in the red. White is just white, but then there's different levels of white. Even when we buy our clothes, there's off-white, there's egg white, there's spring white, there's beige white, and then black. And black has different shades. Gray, between black and gray and white, all those shades in between. You can pick those shades. I'm going to provide you with the information to do exactly that, but I want you to learn what your motives can literally represent using the colors. Make sure you pick the right colors. You don't always want people to be on alert every time they see you, so using yellow, orange, and red inside your palette may not be wise, may not be wise. You want to stick some colors in there that kind of, calm down, because red, orange, and yellow also represent fire. They also represent alert. They also represent hazard. So you want to be very wise on how you pick your colors. Personal brands, these colors, they speak to the not so obvious motives that I provide godly wisdom. I help others grow healthy mindsets about themselves. And I want them to positively change their perspectives on who God created them to be and what they're capable of achieving. So I use purple. My star is in purple. And the Y, which is the main part of, that's my name. And then I have the rest of my company name, YEMBrandU, which you can find me on the internet as YEMBrandU in green, because I believe green represents prosperity. And I use mint green because I just like mint green. I really like mint green. And I just think it's a cool, calming color. When I see it, it calms me down, you know? And I just really like it. And I think it's an amazing combination. And it doesn't really remind you of anything. I don't know any teams that are, green and purple. I I don't know any teams that are green and purple. I don't know any sororities or fraternities or holidays or anything that are green and purple. So my motives are to help people. So when you do see my logo, you don't instantly think of anything else, because my colors are green and purple. And I chose wisely. Green also provokes wisdom, means wisdom. Purple for royalty, you know, and yeah, I think I'm royal. I do. I'm a child of God. I think I'm royal. But whatever color, and it also speaks to authority as well. Blue also speaks to authority as well. So whatever colors you choose, just think about why you're choosing them. Think about how people will receive looking at your visual communication about yourself, and just choose your colors wisely. You want to do that. Now, I also pointed out in this slide where the colors represent my motives. Purple, associated with wisdom, wealth, royalty, power, luxury, magic. I don't do magic, but yeah, right? Green, associated with growth, health, harmony, safety, nature. Calm and refreshed is the mood. So you get what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? And as far as my font is concerned, this font is actually on Canva, which we'll talk about later. I created my logo on canva.com. And I'll be encouraging you to start your free Canva account so you can do the exact same thing. Making your motto, because who doesn't have one, right? Most businesses have one. I think as your motto would be your personal statement. It's a slogan or a tagline that carries your attitude into the memory of your clients long after conducting business with you. Now, originally, this whole course was for small business owners, and I need you to see yourself as a business. Your clients are the employers that are going to hire you. Your clients can easily be the people who you're going to interact with as they get to know you and better equip you, or you better equip them, or you just support each other. What stands out about you that you can make into a motto or a tagline that carries your attitude into people's hearts and memory? It is also considered a catchphrase. Now, according to the book Creative Advertising by Charles Whittier, which if you Google creative advertising by Charles Whittier, you will be able to see this book. And you'll also see a lot online about his book, or what he's written about his book and other people's comments about his book. But in his book, it says a slogan should be a statement of such merit about a product or service that is worthy of continuous repetitive advertising. It's worthwhile for the public to remember, and is phrased in such a way that the public is likely to remember it. My catchphrase for YEM Gunter and for myself is helping people help people. I know, it's absolutely amazing. I love it. It's short and it's catchy. It's 8 words or less. Helping people help people. Mine is actually 4 words. Here's examples of other companies and their catchphrases. Apple's is think different. And we know that, right? You look at it, an Apple iPhone, if you're not used to an Apple iPhone, when you look at one or start fooling with it, you're like, oh my God, it's so different, right? Compared to a Samsung, it's totally different, right? Same thing with Apple computers, Apple laptops. They're totally different from Windows-based operating systems, right? Just Do It, Nike. I'm Loving It by McDonald's. America Runs on Dunkin'. Because You're Worth It by L'Oreal, right? Burger King, Have It Your Way, another example. But everyone needs a catchphrase. So make sure you take some time out and discover what yours is going to be. I encourage you to also possibly use Chat GPT to help you with that, because ChatGPT can give you ideas. You tell ChatGPT what your passions are, or what you like to do, what your hobbies are, or what kind of job you like, or just so it can have a sense of how to help you create a motto or a catchphrase for yourself. And it's going to give you, you can ask it to give you 5 different examples, whatnot, that your name, and this is what you like to do. ChatGPT is probably going to look up what your name mean all in the back end, because it's artificial intelligence. And, if the more information that you give it, the easier it will be able to develop catchphrases for you that are more in tune with your passion, who you are, and where your heart stance is about you. I personally took this branding you successfully as a catchphrase for Gunter and YEMBrandU. I isolated a key area of my business and I found a way to integrate it into my slogan. And since I'm branding people and I'm successful at doing it, and I've done it for over 10 years in creating brands and helping people establish their online presentation, you want to be able to provide information on who you are and what you do in your catchphrase. And for this one is branding you successfully, because that's what I do, right? And like I said, my personal one is helping people help people, because that's what I do as well. Make sure you use a catchphrase that really identifies with who you are and your heart position about what you want to do and your passion as a solid citizen of Earth, contributing to the positive societal excellence of everybody in their lives. What you're contributing to other people's lives can definitely be a part of your catchphrase. Cultivating consistency. What is a brand identity? A brand identity is the visible elements of a brand, such as a color, design, and logo that identify and distinguish the brand in consumers' mind. We know all of these brands because of what? Consistency. We're building our personal brands or our business brands or brands that present who we are and what we like to do, because we want those brands or who we are to be distinguished from everybody else in the minds of everybody else, especially when we're looking at employment. I'm Yolanda Gunter. There is no other Yolanda Gunter that's like me. And so online, I am YEM Gunter. There are no other YEM Gunters. It's just me, Yolanda Ali McCrae Gunter. It's my first name, my middle name, my maiden name, and my current last name, right? Because that's my brand. That's who I am. And I'm consistent with it. As you can see throughout each one of these slides, you see my name at the bottom, and you also see my brand, my YEM Gunter in green, with the Y on top of a purple star. You also see the purple star and the Y, the logo, on every single screen in the background, just faded out. Consistency. That's my brand identity. Coca-Cola, usually in red on any background, or white on any color, other color background, right? You always see it with that loop-de-loop. There's actually a font called the Coca-Cola font, right? You see MetLife. Look at how they made the M. with the blue and the green. I'm pretty sure they've updated it, since then. They used to have Snoopy on it, right? And then their motto says navigating life together, because they're about insurance, right? And then Aflac, and they have a duck. These are visual elements of brands. For me, for my personal brand, the Y and the star. The Y and the star, the visual elements that identify and distinguish my personal brand in the mind of anybody who runs across it again. They'll be like, I've seen that before. I know who that is. I know her. I've attended her classes before. And the same thing with just about any brand. We know McDonald's when we see it. We know Ronald McDonald when we see him. When you're building your brand identity, you want to use consistency. You want to be consistent in the use of your colors, your font, which is your text, and your motto. On my website, I have a video, who I am. I have on my video my identity, my branding, my logo is on there. On my website, my branding, my logo, I'm consistent. The YEM Gunter, the text, it is very, very consistent. In every part of everything that I do, it is very, very consistent. I use it on website covers. I use it on my ebooks. I use the consistency in colors, the consistency in my logo. I use it on every single thing. You're going to include it on your website and your cover headers across all social networks too, because you want that consistency. You're representing three main elements with your brand, and they should always be used together. The text, which is your name, what identifies your name. The colors, which is honing in on your hues, and the symbol, the logo. Now, mine is the star and the Y. You can make yours anything that you want to. You can use a star in the first letter of your name. You can use an uppercase, whatever you want to do. Or you can just use your name in a certain way, in a certain color, in a certain font. And you can always use that name, the color, and the font. And when you're going to use it on a color background, you use that color background instead of the font in a color, and you use the font in white. But you use the same font, the same text, your name. You always use it in the same manner. I encourage you, when you're looking at your social networks, you're looking at your Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, you're looking at your LinkedIn, you're looking at your Facebook. On each one of those web links, URLs or websites, it says facebook.com/ whatever you put on the end of it. Make that consistent. If you want to change your Instagram, your Twitter, or anything, you want to use twitter.com or x.com/ whatever you want to use as your handle. My handle is YEM Gunter. You want to be consistent with that. You want to be consistent on Facebook with that. You want to be consistent on LinkedIn with that. Whatever the end of that URL is that points people to who you are, you want to use consistency. You want to use the same consistency on Instagram. You might want to use the same consistency on YouTube. It's up to you, whatever you decide to do. You can use the same consistency in the email. I have Yolanda E. Gunter at Gmail. I have YEM Gunter at Gmail. I have YolandaGunter.com, and I have YEMGunter.com. But I'm very consistent. And I'm encouraging you to build your brand identity. You have to be consistent. It takes and it requires consistency. So people aren't confused with who this is or what somebody else is doing here. And even the colors can also be consistent too. You want the colors to be consistent, because then people will know, oh, no, that's not something, because that doesn't identify with them. They're not used to seeing, if you see red and black on anything there's somebody's doing YEM Gunter and it's red and black, it's not me, because my colors are purple and mint. It's not me, because I'm super consistent in those three elements: the text, the colors, and the symbol, my logo. I'm very consistent. Your personal identity could include a fourth element, such as your personal brand identity includes an animated character as part of your brand identity. Geico has the Geico, of course, because Geico is spelled with a K for the animal, for the actual lizard, the amphibian. Churchill has a little bulldog. And I can't remember, but I think this was an insurance, the girl. This was some years back, but I started and created this slide actually in 2015, and I have been teaching this same course consistently with the consistent information, because the industry as a whole, the foundation of understanding the brand and creating a brand, whether it's personal for business, that information does not change. The foundation is always going to be the same, and it's repeated over and over and over again. So I believe this girl is part of an insurance type of logo or animated character representing an insurance company. Actually, all three of these images are for insurance companies, but you know they're different. You know they're different. Some are using the text and the character. Some are just using the character, and some are, you know, you can just use the text. It all depends how you want to present it, but keep it consistent. And whatever elements that you choose, use them consistently. Oh, another example, you know how nowadays you can make an animated GIF of yourself or a gravatar avatar of yourself. You can have an avatar of yourself, and you can use that with your name and keep it consistent on everything that you put. You use that avatar. The avatar has different emotions, different body poses, and all kinds of different things. Be consistent with it, and people gravitate and see that, oh, when they see that little avatar, they know it's you. But it takes consistency. It takes consistency. Consistency, these are the rules for cultivating consistency. Consistency should always follow your first impression. Trust is built on learned perceptions. And that is, people are learning their perceptions of you based on your consistency. And they're able to trust it because you're consistent all the time. They don't know if you're here or if you're there. If you 1 minute you're using purple, the next minute I'm using blue, you know, the other minute I'm using red. And no, it's like, okay, you're all over the place. We can't even tell if it's you or what, you know, what you're doing. I'm very consistent. And because I'm consistent, there's a level of trust built. When people are seeking somebody to do their branding web development, or they're trying to book me for idea cultivation, they see that everything is very consistent across the board. And it builds their perception. It helps with them understanding their perception. You want to make each and every engagement impressive. Somebody goes to your LinkedIn, you want them to see a good profile pic. You don't want to use an avatar for your LinkedIn. Now, you may use an avatar for your Facebook, and you may use an avatar for your X Twitter account. You may use an avatar for your Instagram and your TikTok, but you do not want to use an avatar for your professional social network media profile called LinkedIn. You want to use a pose that is very much professional, sitting straight up. It doesn't have to have fancy backgrounds. You don't want no text on it. You just want a plain profile pic. You can actually look up, Google how to take the perfect profile pic with my cell phone. And you will get examples in the images. You will also find, if you click on the video tab, you'll find videos that'll show you exactly how to take the perfect cell phone pics for your profile pictures to be professional. And you want them to be professional because you want people to take you serious. Every time somebody engages with you online, you want to have an impressive engagement that First impression is everything, and you want it to be consistent. You don't want to change your profile pic every month or every weekend. You don't have to do all of that. It's not very impressive. You want to build consistency in your brand. Sure, you can, change your profile pic once a year. I've had the same profile pic on LinkedIn probably for the past since 2020. So for the last 4 years, I've had the same profile pic on LinkedIn. Haven't changed it. It's still the same. Same header. Website's been the same since 2020, 2019, actually. It's just been the same. The only place where I literally changed my profile pic a lot, is my personal Facebook page. Is I'm not cultivating consistency on there. I'm just sharing my personal interests, my personal passions, but I'm consistent with it. And you want to use consistency every chance that you can to make an impression on people, and you're molding their perceptions of you. And it also builds trust. Now, protecting your brand, and this is our last session. Brand association, huge. You associate McDonald's golden arcs with children and food. Thereby, you would not be alarmed if the Happy Meal toy were a Disney or a Hello Kitty character. Now, I'm using these as two examples, but here's Hello Kitty. McDonald's once had a Hello Kitty full set, and Hello Kitty is associated with children. And Hello Kitty is associated with some adults too. I like Hello Kitty, right? These are good brand associations. Good versus bad associations. Now, let's talk about a human. And that was McDonald's with intangible things, or, still life or whatnot in food, right? But let's talk about a human good and bad association. We all know who this is. This is Serena Williams, multiple tennis title holder and businesswoman, Serena Williams. She's pictured here with both Nike and Gatorade. Check mark. Good brand associations. Nike stands behind athleticism. Gatorade fuels the body for people who are active and sweat, whether they're athletes or working out or just doing whatever, but anything that, depletes the body of water, Gatorade is available for you to replenish you, right? That's what Gatorade stands for. And when they're endorsing an athlete, they're doing good associations with good athletes. Now, as soon as somebody wins the Super Bowl, goes out and parties and, accidentally drinks and drives and causes a bad accident and accidentally murders somebody in the bad accident, you will see any kind of endorsements get pulled. You will see those brands quickly disassociate themselves from that person and their personal brand, because even companies have enough common sense that they're not going to be associated with bad things or things that will make their brand look bad. Here's another example. If you saw a flyer for a free children's concert in the park sponsored by Budweiser with their logo across the bottom, you literally, as a parent, you would think twice before setting those free concert dates on your calendar to take your kids, because that is a great example of bad brand association. You do not see Budweiser sponsoring any children's events. You just don't. You don't. If you do, email me, YEMBrandU. That's YEM as in money, B as in brand, RAND as in door, and the letter U at gmail.com. U as in umbrella. You email me and you show me and send me a link where Budweiser is connected and sponsoring something that has to do with children, and mainly children, not adults, but children. Right, because children should not be consuming Budweiser, and alcoholic beverage companies should not be advertising to children, right? Exactly. So pay attention to your associations. It's very vital that you pay attention to your associations. You want to use wisdom when partnering with other personal and business brand identities. In the same sense that you can be charged fully for the person that you're associated with if they go and rob the bank and you're in the car with them. You robbed the bank too. You might have been in the car and didn't even know. By association, you're guilty. It is the same way with our personal brands and our business brands. You want to be careful with who you partner with, and you want to use wisdom. Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character. 1 Corinthians 15:33. Pick any version. It doesn't matter, but I use the New International Version, the NIV, for this one. And we all know that. They say if your friends are thieves, you got 4 friends, you the 5th one, and the 4 friends are actually thieves. Everybody know them as thieves, and you wonder why people don't want to associate with you because they are, the perception is that you're a thief too, because you have those friends that are thieves. Even though you're not the thief, you're not the drunk, but because you keep bad company, your good character is corrupted. You want to make sure that you protect your brand, and you want to be very diligent in doing that. Now, the next steps is for the YEMBrandU basic 4-page website. We will be going over those classes in November and in December. So you want to have your laptops charged up, and you want to be ready to take notes. You want to be ready to be interactive. Get your laptops and your tablets, either way. You want to be ready, because that's the next step. After this, we building a website. These are my prices for basic 4-page websites when you present yourself as a brand and start your own brand. You get 6 week sessions, 1-hour sessions of one-on-one guidance for 1 payment of $13.97 or 2 payments of $698.50. And you can join now at YEMgunter.com/basic. Thank you for taking the lead in branding you successfully. And as presented by me, Yolanda Gunter, YEMBrandU across all internet, I encourage you to connect with me across all the internet. I'm on YouTube. I have music. I'm everywhere. Click that link in bio and connect with me. I have so much to offer, right? So I want you guys to be encouraged and understand that we're going to get through this one step at a way, one step at a time, and we're going to brand ourselves successfully. In all that we do, use consistency and be everything that's inside our heart to be. Whatever God has put on the desire of your heart or who you are right now, that's who we're presenting right now. We're not going to be concerned about the past, because we're no longer living in the past. We're living in the now, and we're pursuing the purposes that are great and prosperous for us in our social lives, emotional lives, physical lives, spiritual lives, and financial lives moving forward. Again, thank you so much for joining, and I really hope that you enjoy these classes. I hope you enjoyed this course. If you have any questions at all, please email me at YEMBrandU, and that's you, like the letter U, umbrella, @gmail.com.